welcome back to the next episode of the Horsemen Pro Football Talk podcast. This is the Week 4 preview, and I'm Brad.
This is Zach.
No, Hefe.
All right, let's start with the breaking news. So we just got word that the Titans-Steelers game is they're planning to postpone. Last I heard, they weren't sure if they were going to postpone. They had a backup plan possibly for Sunday night or Monday night. I've since heard that they plan on not playing Sunday, and right now they're looking at Monday and Tuesday. Is that what everyone else has heard?
Yeah, that's the report I've been seeing.
Yeah. Do we have any word on the Vikings game?
Yeah, they are returning to practice on Thursday, so I'm going to assume their week and their game is being played as scheduled. They don't have any positive tests, but the Titans have one more.
Okay. Well, this is unfortunate. If they play on Tuesday, this will be only the second time the NFL has ever played on Tuesday since 1946. I guess I think it was the Eagles and the Vikings maybe in 2012, Week 16. They had to move to a Tuesday because of snow in Philadelphia. So that's some useless trivia that might help you win a drink at a bar somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, actually. I mean, it's going to suck if they have to move it back, but only the second game on a Tuesday in 80 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now there's some concern. One of our viewers brought up the concern that if the game is on Tuesday, what does that do for fantasy football? You guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you kind of got to just have a backup plan in place. It's kind of unfortunate, but unfortunately, I know this person, and bless her heart, she watches us, and we appreciate the support, but shouldn't have went with all those Titans players.
Touche. So does fantasy football, does it cut off on Monday? Is the week cut off on Monday, or is it inclusive of any game that's scheduled for that week?
Usually it reset. The next week officially starts on Wednesdays. Generally, I'm sure there's different leagues, different settings, but if it is on a Tuesday, I don't know what they're going to do about that.
Yeah, interesting for sure. And 2020 just keeps on not disappointing with weirdness.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, okay. Well, this game, I've been looking forward to this game for several weeks here. The Titans are 3-0. They're at the top of the AFC South, but let's face it, they're holding it together. It appears they're holding it together with duct tape and glue. They have, and they're 3-0. I mean, they have won 3 games in the NFL. That's nothing to shout about, but they have scratched, clawed, bitten, and kicked their way to that 3-0 record. And they have won all 3 of those games by a combined 6 points against opponents with a combined record of 1-8. So it's not exactly clear cut and dry here with what we're looking at. This game, to me, this game was going to put everything right back in its rightful place. We would know whether the Titans were legit, if the Steelers are legit. I don't think it's going to make or break a season completely, but we would get a better look at what we're looking at. Now, COVID has again reared its ugly head, and this is actually brutal for. The Titans and the Vikings have suspended operations for the week. We just heard that the Vikings have suspended practice until Thursday. This is brutal for any organization trying to prepare for the next game. I don't care who it is. Quite honestly, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it was Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. This is or Adam Gase and the Jets. That might do them some good. I don't know, but this is quite honestly, it's downright unfair. So if the Steelers win, there's a mental asterisk with this game. And as much as I hate to admit it, rightfully so, if the Titans lose, I cannot rightfully say, I told you so. I can't I mean, I could, and I probably will when we're trash talking against Titans fans and the trash talking group we belong to. But I certainly won't mean it. Unfortunately, if the Titans win, well, I don't know. Maybe they're as legit as their imperceptive fans have been claiming they are. I don't know. In the end, there's a cloud hanging over this game. Unfortunately, either way, I think the Steelers are going to win on the road in Tennessee.
Yeah, as you said, they won 3 games by combined 6 points against really bad teams. So if the Titans do win, there will be that argument made that they may be legit. In my opinion, I think I don't want to necessarily say it's a fluke that they beat the Steelers because I don't think Pittsburgh's on that level, and I don't think the Titans are way down on the bottom. But even without this COVID thing, I had Pittsburgh winning this. Their defense is too tough. I think they'll shut down Derrick Henry. I think they'll put some pressure on Tannehill and have him make a few mistakes, that's what teams need to do if they want to win. So personally, I don't think the COVID thing matters. If they play, I have Pittsburgh winning. I don't think Tennessee is as good as everybody thinks they are. I think I predicted them to finish 10-6 maybe on the season. I think they'll probably get close to that, but I don't see them winning here.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get a win here either. If they play this game, it's one reason I hope they play this game because I just don't think this Titans team can beat the Steelers. The Steelers are just too good on both sides of the ball, and the Titans are slacking on defense. And so I think that's just going to be the difference maker in this one. Steelers' defense is just ridiculous.
All right, I think we all agree there. The Steelers are going to win this one. And that very well could put. We'll get into that a little later on, but that could cause a tie for first place in the AFC South with the Colts. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, moving on to the Seahawks at the Dolphins. I saw someone call this game the lock of the week, and do you guys know how much of a punch in the gut that was for me? I mean, seriously, do you? I mean, I know you do. On one hand, I'm not only a Dolphins fan, but I have faith in what Flores is doing. I think the fish are on the rise. I haven't been shy about that at all. I want them to be better. I want them to be better faster, actually, than appears to be unfolding at the moment. On the other hand, I like the Seahawks organization, but I'm not a big Pete Carroll fan, and coaches of an organization go a long way with me. And then I hear this is a lock of the week, and I stop and think for a second and think, damn, he's right. So Dolphins fall to 1-3. The Seahawks take another step towards probably, winning the NFC West.
Yeah, Miami's on the rise. Unfortunately, they're facing a top 3 team in the league right now. Russell Wilson, in my opinion, he's leading the MVP race for the entire league. I don't see him slowing down, especially if the Dolphins' Byron Jones is still out with an injury. So they're projected to win by at least a touchdown. I think Seattle's going to cover that.
Yeah, it's probably a good guess. I do like the Dolphins' defense and the players that they have, but Russell Wilson's just playing out of his mind right now, and I expect that to keep going. Maybe this game tightens up a little bit if Jamal Adams isn't there, because that Seahawks defense, like I said in the recap, it looked a little suspect without Jamal Adams. So that's something to watch for, but I think either way, the Seahawks win this game.
All right, so just to clarify, we're all on the same page. We all think that the Seahawks certainly going to win this one. Broncos at the Jets. My philosophy is if it's a coin toss, then we go with the home team. That should apply here. Yeah, that doesn't apply here. There's no way in good conscience that I can pick the Jets to win right now, despite the problems that currently plague the Broncos. Sam Darnold could pick this team apart and put up 30 for all I know, but I'm going to go with what we've seen this far and from what Gase has shown us now for 4 years or so, and the Jets continue their tailspin, and the Broncos finally get a much-needed win.
Yeah, absolutely. Denver's not a bad team. They've just been plagued with the injury bug this season. Von Miller's been out. Drew Lock's out. Cortland Sutton's out. But the Jets are a terrible team. and Adam Gase needs fired yesterday. And so Denver they'll win this one. This one's I don't know what they call it, the PK, where there's not even a favorite to win it. It's just toss up, whatever on the line. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that really the case? This is
yeah. There's no point differential. It's 0-0. So it's kind of a toss up, but I think ultimately Denver's a better team. New York is the worst team in the league, and Denver's going to win it.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel. You know, it's not that the Broncos are a whole class better or anything, but the Jets are just really bad. Their point differential through 3 games is negative 57. And I don't think it's going to really get any better here. They're dysfunctional. They're going to stay dysfunctional, and the Broncos come away with the dub.
All right. We all agree there. The Broncos are taking this one. All right. Colts and the Bears. This to me looks like a legit contender contest. I personally don't think the Bears are legit. I personally think that the Colts are legit. There's one thing for sure, though. We are going to know by late Sunday which is which. And in my opinion, here there's a couple keys to this game for me. Rivers now has 3 games in the new system and playing with his new teammates. It isn't quite a full preseason, but it's close. We didn't have preseason this year. We're now 3 games in. It's time to really begin to emerge. It's still early, but he seems to be settling in and getting comfortable in this role. However, I think he's going to be tested this week against a pretty good Bears defense. The Bears have to stop. They have to stop the run. If the Colts can successfully run all day, then it's going to take the pressure off Rivers and let him do his thing when he needs to, which is exactly how the system's designed. He's going to be successful. We've talked about that. I don't care if he is wearing Depends under his uniform or whatever. He still has the mental and physical ability to get it done. But if the Bears can shut the run down and force Rivers to step out of his comfort zone, start making some decisions he doesn't want to make, then it might not be pretty. We might see the Rivers we saw at the end of last year. So another key is obviously going to be Nick Foles. There's a quarterback controversy in Chicago, and right now it looks like a blessing. If one can't do it, the other can. We'll just shuffle them in, and we'll find ways to win. But ultimately, if that's not fixed, it'll cause the wheels to fall off. But it will be interesting to see how Foles plays and maybe how Trubisky plays. If Foles doesn't play well, Trubisky comes in the second half. So we'll certainly be watching that. But I don't know. Can Foles be the hero? And honestly, with this Colts defense, we might end up seeing Trubisky sooner rather than later.
Yeah, very well could. I'm not going to go into detail on it because you pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything. We all know how I feel about the Colts. We all know how I feel about the Bears. The first 3 weeks of the season, I picked the Bears to lose, and they proved me wrong. I was wrong all 3 weeks. The Bears won. So, being the superstitious kind of person that I am, being a former football player, I'm going to be the ultimate team player here, and I'm going to pick the Bears to win with a wink and a smile. But I will say the Colts will cover that 2.5 point spread.
There's really no shot that the Bears are going to win here. They're only scoring any points on 37% of their drives for 3 games. And with the thing with the quarterback, Nick Foles is going to play better, but last week his completion percentage was like 55%, 58%, something like that. 3 touchdowns and an interception. And the Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator for Nick Foles. He knows what he can do and what he can't. Him and Eberflus are going to game plan right around everything that Nick Foles is good at. So I expect the Chicago defense to do some work too. It's not going to be the Indy offense putting up a bunch of points and making it look easy either. The Bears still have Khalil Mack and Eddie Jackson and all those guys. So it'll be a tough game, but the Colts are definitely pulling out the win in this one.
Okay, so 2 of us think the Colts are going to win. One of us said, well, let me rephrase that. 2 of us say the Colts are going to win. One of us says the Bears are going to win, but all 3 of us believe the Colts are going to win. And
yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, the Bears do the opposite of what I picked them to do, and so I Going to throw it out there. The Bears are going to win, so they don't win.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Let's move on to the Jags and the Bengals. It's kind of sad, but I think this entire game, Jeff's going to have way better analysis on this than I am. To me, this entire game is going to come down to which young quarterback is going to have the better game. Right now, that just screams Joe Burrow. And in my opinion, the Bengals are going to get the first win, and Jags are going to continue in their descent to the basement of the AFC South.
Yeah, so the Jags win against the Colts in week 1 was a fluke, in my opinion. Their true colors really showed last week against the Dolphins. The Dolphins completely shut them down. Cincinnati isn't really any better, but Joe Burrow has looked very impressive. I expect him to continue that trend. I think he's going to continue to develop and get better. He's really good at protecting the ball right now as it is as a rookie. And they're at home, so I think Joe Burrow will get his first NFL win.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think that, the Bengals defense is suspect, but so is the Jags. And at the end of the day, I just think Joe Burrow is gonna throw the ball enough, and with him putting up 40 passes a game, it just feels like he's gonna have a game here pretty soon where he's gonna have almost 400 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, maybe an interception or two. You're throwing that much, but he hasn't been turning the ball over from what we've seen with him throwing a bunch, and I think this is going to be a huge game for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think T. Higgins comes out, maybe doesn't have 2 touchdowns again like he did last week, but I think those two coming up in this system together is going to be really good. I think they do well together again. And I think, in our fantasy show yesterday, I said that I would take both the quarterbacks in this one because that Bengals defense is so bad that I think Minshew is going to be able to do his thing too. He's not a terrible quarterback, and it's unclear if they get DJ Chark back in this one this far, but if they do, this will definitely be a more competitive game. But either way, I'm going to be taking the Bengals in this one.
All right, so we all three agree the Jags are. The Bengals are going to win. The Bengals are going to win this one. Sorry, I got confused. All right, Browns and Cowboys. Man, look, I don't know. I don't know. By all rights, this should be a no-brainer. The Cowboys are at home, and Mike McCarthy should be pulling this together at any time. We're all waiting on that. I have a weird gut feeling this is the upset of the week right here, fellas. I think I don't know. It's just, but my brain is fighting me, and I can't actually pick the Browns to win. I think I'm going to regret it. I honestly don't know what to do.
Well, Cleveland hasn't really impressed me. They were routed in week 1 by the Ravens, which is to be expected. And their only 2 wins were against the Bengals and the Washington football team. Dallas is 1-2 on the season. They had that epic comeback against the Falcons, and their 2 losses are against the Seahawks and the Rams, both of which are really good playoff caliber teams. So to me, Dallas being at home, I think they're going to beat the Browns. They're favored by 5. I think they're going to cover that.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I'm still not sure who to really pick, but at the end of the day, I think I want to go with the Cowboys here. It just feels like a game they should be able to win. I know their defense is suspect right now, but so is Baker's arm. So I think they'll be able to do just enough in this game to get a W because that offense Dak is putting up unreal numbers right now. He leads the league in passing yards, and he's going to be yakking it up again in this game, but the Browns are going to try to run the ball, and the game will really come down to that. How are they able to run and use that play action? Because obviously we can't depend on Baker Mayfield to go and win the game. So if the Browns can dictate the game with the run game and somehow stop the Cowboys offense, maybe, but that Browns defense is still a little bit banged up, some people missing in the secondary, so I expect Dak to put up a bunch of yards here again.
Yeah, so I think in the end, I think we're all on the same page again. It could happen, but I think the Cowboys are going to get this one at home in the end. I think we all agree there. So, okay, the Saints and the Lions. So there is one thing for sure here. If the Saints lose this game, they may be kissing the NFC South goodbye. If Breeze and Peyton can't pull it together here after losing 2 in a row, let me explain this a little bit. If these guys, they're consummate professionals, they know how to win. And if they can't pull it together now after losing 2 in a row and then beating a team like the Lions, then their problems are deeper than anyone could imagine. I mean, their problems are deeper than we can analyze here on the surface. This is potentially how dynasties unravel. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not making some bold prediction or any garbage like that. I'm not saying the Saints are done. 6 years ago, people were saying that the Patriots were done, and we saw what they did after that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that as of right now, from where I'm sitting, this is a critical win for the Saints. Now, crazier comebacks have happened and all that kind of thing. So, on the other hand, the Lions are coming into this confident and riding high, coming off that big upset in Arizona. I mean, they're playing at home, and who knows? I mean, the guys may love Patricia, and they may be rallying to keep his job. And high emotional investment is always an intangible factor when it comes to competition. So, but in the end, I'm not going to bet against the Saints, and I'm gonna say they come away with the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. Detroit pulled off the stunning upset against the Cardinals last week, picking off Kyler Murray 3 times. But Drew Brees isn't Kyler Murray. I think he'll get his stuff together. And Michael Thomas is expected to return, which is going to be huge for New Orleans. So I see them blowing the Lions out in this one.
This one's tough for me too, because if Michael Thomas happens to not play the game, I think this is a pretty close game, and maybe the Lions win. But if Michael Thomas is expected to be back, then I'm going to go ahead and take the Saints in this one.
All right. Looks like we're all three taking the Saints. Next up is the Vikings and the Texans. This is just the opposite of the Colts and the Bears game. This may show us which coach is likely to get fired first, to be quite honest. The Vikings took the Titans to the brink last week. Again, we don't know if that was a sign of what to things to come with the Vikings. They're certainly underachieving from what they look like on paper, or if the Titans are overachieving, or both. We don't know. Now COVID's hit. We just went through that. The Vikings are out of the facility until Thursday. We don't know how that's going to affect them. They're on the road. The Texans are at home. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. All things considered, I have to go with the home team that appears to be underachieving thus far. I've expected a little more out of the Texans than what we've seen. I got to go with the Texans.
Yeah, so both teams have looked terrible, and they both played 3 really good teams. So I don't know. It was kind of a toss-up to me, but deep down, I believe the Vikings are still the better overall team. So I have them pulling off the upset.
I have the Vikings as well in this one. I think that Justin Jefferson showed that he can be a great replacement for Stephon Diggs. So, assuming that they continue to make a point to get him involved, and that'll help open Thielen up a little more, and the threat of the pass game and the play action is going to open Dalvin Cook's lanes up a little more. And this Texans team is just gonna fall apart. It's barely holding up right now. I just don't think they have the juice to beat the Vikings.
Okay, so here's where we sit with this. All right, so Hefe is currently in first place in the pick'em by I think 2, right?
Yeah.
So right now, we haven't seen what we've got with the rest of these games, but as we sit right now, since I'm the only dissenter in this game with the Vikings and the Texans, and I've chosen the Texans, now I have been forced into a position where I have to really root for the Texans to move up in the pick'em game, because Zach, if the Texans win, Zach moves down a place, I move up a place away from him, and I move one place closer to Jeff. Now, the irony of this is that I can't stand any of the other teams in the AFC South, except maybe the Titans, but that's a different conversation for a different day. I want the Texans to lose badly. I've been praising the Vikings praise. and I'm having an existential meltdown right now because this is a huge mental quandary, and I need somebody to identify with my pain, and I'm not going to get any sympathy. So we will certainly move on and see how this plays out.
Yeah, we'll see. If the Vikings lose, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat because I think they're a good team and they've proven that the last few years, and it's just kind of mind blowing that they've been playing the way they have. So if they lose, it's time to abandon ship. For sure.
I'd agree with that. Okay, Cardinals and the Panthers. Is this a revenge game? I mean, or the Cardinals going to come back and take it out on the Panthers if they lost, or is this the second upset in the week? Bridgewater is the second upset in 2 games. Bridgewater's playing well. The Panthers are home. The Cardinals obviously are vulnerable now. They showed that last week in their loss at home against the Lions. So personally, I believe the Panthers are capable of winning this game. However, when I look at the overall picture of what I expect these 2 teams to be at the end of the season, you have to anticipate the Cardinals are going to learn from their mistakes and get better. And I think the Cardinals overall are the better team, so I have to go with the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way you do. I think the Panthers more than capable of winning it, but I do think the Cardinals are a better team. They're favored by 3.5. I see them winning and covering.
This one wasn't really so easy for me to pick because I feel like this feels like an upset game. I don't know why, but it feels like you're bringing in 2 guys who were coaching college football just 2 years ago, and now they're coaching pro teams and trying to make their systems work. And Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, and that system isn't proven yet either. So this one's tough for me, but there's some guys on that Cardinals defense that I really like and that I think are true game changers. And so that's really going to be the difference here between these 2 teams. So I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right. Chargers at the Bucks. This is a Herbert alert, or Hey Bear, Herb, something or another. Well, anyway, the mullet guy. Does he have a mullet?
I think he just has long, luscious locks.
Long, luscious locks.
The one where you flip behind you.
Yeah. I just got to be honest. I'm only making fun of him because I'm jealous that I don't have long, luscious locks like that anymore. He looks like a surfer kid in a football movie that the coach accidentally sees him throwing a football, out on the beach one day or something, and recruits him to play, and he's pissed off the world and he doesn't, want to play, but he decides to play, and he pisses off the school and the whole town, and the parents had been there forever, and then in the end he leads them to a championship and they carry him off the field.
Sounds like a Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah, Johnny Utah.
Keanu.
Anyway, the kid's great, and I really like him. I know both of you do as well. He should be named the starter. We're not going to beat that to death. We've already talked about it. He has a great future. But he's going against one of the greatest. Some people argue he's a GOAT on the road, and a team that's arguably one of the top teams in the NFC. Appears to be getting better week by week, which we expected. Not today, Spicoli. Bucks win big.
Yeah, after the Chargers had played the Chiefs, they looked great. Everybody was jumping on the bandwagon saying they're going to be a formidable team this year. And then, kind of dropped the ball last week against Carolina. But the Bucks are on the rise. Brady's playing well. He's involving all of his weapons. They have the momentum. They have the better players. They have the more experience. They have the better coaching. So Tampa Bay wins, covers the 7.5-point spread easily.
I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Bucks. You just said they covered easily, but I think this is going to be a defense, run the ball, grind out, old school type of game here. You have the Chargers, I feel like, aren't going to want to try to go on the back of a rookie for the 3rd game in a row, and because it obviously didn't work against the Panthers. And the Bucks are just more defensive and run happy this year than we expected them to be, and rightfully so. You have Ronald Jones and you have Leonard Fournette. Tom Brady's 43 years old, and so they're not really a vertical offense like we expected. But they're getting the job done right now, and that defense is better than we thought it was going to be. So ultimately, I just think the Bucks have a little more firepower on offense, and that's going to be the difference maker for me. Bucks win this game.
All right, so we all three agree the Bucks are going to win. There's just a little dissension of how easy it will be, so we'll see how that plays out. Okay, next game, the Ravens at the Washington football team. The Ravens are on the road. Yeah, right down the road. It's like literally like 40 miles or something. The Ravens bounce back against a struggling Washington football team. The Ravens moved to 3-1.
Yeah, the Ravens last week lost to the Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, for presumably the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. They're going to be pissed off, and they're going to absolutely manhandle the Washington football team, embarrass them. They're favored by 13.5, and I have them winning by at least 21.
It's probably pretty accurate. This is Baltimore is a run-heavy team, obviously, and Washington is getting gashed in the run. So this is probably one where you see the Ravens come back and get super smash-mouthed right after a huge loss in prime time. They're probably going to have like 250 rushing yards between all the running backs and Lamar. They're about to go nuts on Washington. Huge bounce back game. Try to get back on the right track. So take the Ravens.
Yep. All right. We all agree there. And as a side note, fun fact trivia for week 3, that the Browns are currently tied with the Ravens for second place in the AFC North. And if I don't think there's any question that the Ravens are going to win, but if the Browns also win in week 4, they will remain tied for second place in the AFC North. So
that's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, if you're a Browns fan, that's something to celebrate, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice having a winning record if you're a Browns fan.
Easily pleased, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Giants at Rams. I saw someone say that the Jets were the worst team in the league the other day, and someone else replied, and I quote, "The Giants called and they would like to have a word with you." Yeah, and it pretty much sums that up. I don't know which one is stinking up New York the worst. I'll leave that to New Yorkers to fight it out, and I'm sure if they got given the chance, they would probably fist fight that out. I have my opinion, but that's because Firegaze. I'm biased about the Jets. Rams are coming off a tough loss to Buffalo on the road. They should not only regroup, but they probably won't even need to regroup. This should be a pretty lopsided victory for them at home.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. It's going to be ugly. The Rams are favored by 13. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are just too good here. The Giants are bad on offense and defense. It's just this game probably not close. Going to probably look a lot like that 49ers-Giants game last week.
Yeah, that's an excellent comparison. I think you're probably right. Okay, next up, Bills and Raiders. Man, this I got to see. I am excited. To start breaking this down, the more you win, the more the odds increase that you're going to lose, and that's why it's so hard to go undefeated. And I don't know if it's game film or karma or bad luck or whatever, but that's a rule, and we all know that. And it's still early, way early. The Bills are 3-0. They're very capable of winning 8, 10, 12, I don't know, 14 games before losing. But every game, the odds increase a little bit more that it could happen again. So can Allen can he have another 300-yard day? I don't know. But listen, guys, listen. All right. Jeff, I'm talking to you, Jeff. Hefe, this is for you. All right. The Raiders have a thing at home. They're undefeated at home. They're undefeated. The Raiders have never been beaten in Vegas. Never.
True story. Yeah.
This is a true story. It's their house. There's no curse, no tuck rule, no, the Chucky and the boys are ready to defend the house. The Bills better check with the Saints, and Josh better call Drew, get some pointers. So it leads us to this. I just gave you all the information you need. Here's the question. Can the Raiders pull off the upset? I don't think so. Bills win.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, I was like, where's he going with this? But yeah, like we've talked about, if it wasn't for Russell Wilson, Josh Allen would be leading the MVP race right now. Their offense is flying high. John Brown should be returning to the lineup. So that's just another weapon for Josh Allen. And I think overall, Buffalo is just too good. Their defense is stellar. I have them winning by a touchdown. They're favored by 3. It's going to be a great game to watch, but I just see Buffalo being the better team.
Yes, this could be a really entertaining game, but it also could look like the Patriots-Raiders last week. We know that the Bills have a stout defense, and they've had one of the best run defenses in the league going on 3 or 4 years now. And the Patriots were able to stop Josh Jacobs. And when you stop Josh Jacobs, the rest of that offense just doesn't work right. You can't work off the play action when they're not running the ball well. So, Derek Carr isn't turning the ball over. He's not generally somebody that'll make a stupid play or throw the game away for you, but he's also not a guy that you look at and you're like, all right, we're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Let's have this guy bring it back, right? So you hope they don't get down in that situation, but I think they will, because I think the Bills are just that good on both sides of the ball, and they should win this one pretty easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we all three agree with that the Bills are going to walk away with this one in Vegas, and the Raiders will no longer be undefeated at home, unfortunately. All right, next up, Patriots and the Chiefs. Look, this is 2 masterminds going head to head. No, I can't go on with that. I was going to go on about legends and it's a chess game and all that, and man, the Chiefs are too much. We keep talking about that. The Chargers surprised them a bit, but the other night they took care of business in Baltimore, against which may rightfully end up being their AFC Championship opponent. That's no easy feat to take care of that. The Patriots are making things happen, but I think I don't want to say they're barely making things happen, because I don't believe that, but I think they're overachieving. I think Bill Zabub and Cam are making magic. They're making Thanksgiving dinner out of Chef Boyardee cans, just trying to hold it together and put it together. I don't think in the end it's going to pay off for them. The Chiefs are a dynasty in the building. They're the old Patriots. If this was in Foxborough and we had spies and hidden cameras, we might be having a different discussion, but it isn't. It's in KC. Mahomes is sleeping in his own bed. Easy win for the Chiefs.
Yeah, you hit all of the points I was going to make. If it was in Foxborough, the Patriots might have a chance, but they're heading to Arrowhead Stadium. It's already tough to win there, especially against the defending Super Bowl champs, and they're coming off a huge win in Baltimore too. So from this point forward, it's going to be very difficult for me not to pick Kansas City to win. So with that said, Chiefs win it, cover the spread. They're favored by 7.
Yeah, I'm going to echo the same sentiments. When you look as impressive as you did against that Baltimore defense, who has, easily one of the best defenses in the league, and Kansas City was able to just move the ball on them at will pretty much all day. And so, if they're going to be doing that, then I have to assume they can do it to a defense who lost half of its starters to opt-outs and free agency. So I expect the Chiefs to win this one.
All right, we all certainly agree there. The Chiefs will continue their ways. And all right, let's move on to the Eagles and the 49ers. When I begin to evaluate games, I take all of the information I have and I ask myself a list of very specific questions about each team, and I run down that list and carefully compare those answers. Unfortunately, when evaluating this game, I didn't get past the first question, which was, can the disastrous Eagles, who tied with the Bengals at home, travel all the way across the country, go into San Francisco and beat one of the top teams in perhaps the toughest division in football this year? And I realized the answer is simply no.
Yep, the Eagles have looked absolutely horrendous the first 30 weeks. Both teams are dealing with a multitude of injuries, but the 49ers are at home. They're definitely the better team. They're a playoff caliber team. I have the Niners winning and covering the 7-point spread.
Yeah. I can't really add a whole lot to that. The Eagles just don't look good. With all their injuries, they don't look good. And with all the 49ers injuries, Kyle Shanahan has his team undefeated still. And I think they come out of this weekend still undefeated.
Yeah, and I would like to reiterate what you just said, Hefe, that despite their injuries, they still have a winning record, and if they can hold it together and then get everybody back, and we talked about this already. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I I I don't know, man. Shanahan may be onto something this year, and the 49ers may be. I don't want to use the word dark horse. There's a lot of NFC teams right now that look promising. There are a lot of them, but I think if he can really hold this together, they really might bring a big stick into the postseason. So, okay, let's move on to the Falcons and Green Bay. Look, when I begin to evaluate games, I take all the. Oh, wait a minute, that was the other game. Oh, no, wait a minute, that is this game. Oh yeah, the answer is no. Nope.
No.
Rodgers may sit the fourth quarter. Hell, Dan Quinn might sit the fourth quarter if this goes as badly as I think it might.
Yeah. So the Aaron boys, let me tell you about them real quick again, because I always do. Aaron Rodgers, like we talked about, playing with the chip on his shoulder. He's number 3 in the league in passing touchdowns, number 6 in yards. Aaron Jones, number 2 in the league in rushing yards, and he's tied for first with rushing touchdowns. Packers are in Lambeau, and their offense is going to be way too much. I don't even think the Falcons are going to be able to get a lead to blow this week. Green Bay wins this one easily. They're favored by 7.5. I see them winning 14, 21 points.
Yeah. I mean, let's not get crazy here. The Packers are rolling right now, and the Falcons have, even if they got a lead, they're going to blow it. So just do the obvious thing, take the team that hasn't lost yet, because the other one's just going to keep losing.
If they just subtly said if they get a lead, they're going to blow it. That might be the funniest thing I've heard all year. It's funny because it's true. That's hysterical. It's hysterical that is just mentioned as a fact. That's just now a foregone conclusion in this league, and it's quite sad at the same time. So, all right, that concludes all the. What were you going to say, Fa?
So yeah, what an embarrassment! I couldn't imagine if that was the Colts doing that. I wouldn't root for the Colts anymore.
No, it's bad enough if you're losing games, but when you're winning games and then you lose a game, and that emotional roller coaster, that would take too much out of me. So let's hope for the Falcons fans that it's just 45-0 and they know where they stand at the end of the day and they can go on about their day happily. All right, so that concludes all the games for Week 4. Guys, I want to touch on something. We talked the other day in the Week 3 recap. We talked a little bit about the future of the Colts quarterback situation and Jacoby Brissett. And when we had that discussion, Hefe, you brought up Jacob Eason, and I read some things about him today, and I want to kind of go over this a little bit. You know, Rivers is a great fit for the system, first of all. We've talked about that. I'm going to say it again. We've said it here from day one. He's the perfect missing piece for this offense. It's starting to show, and with the way the defense is playing and Rivers appears to be emerging, this team's going to get better, and they're going to be real dangerous real quick. But in the end, Rivers' time is limited. We all know that. I don't know if it's this year or next, maybe the year after. Protecting him will be a huge piece of that. So far, he looks like he's behind a brick wall rather than that trash line that about got Andrew Luck killed. Looked more like a group of teenage girls trying to protect Justin Bieber in a crowded mall kind of thing. But regardless of what happens, Rivers' time will be up soon, and we know that. The question is, who will it be? And like I said, we talked about Brissett, that Reich had, talked about when he had told Brissett the Rivers coming in, and Rivers, you can learn from Rivers. He knows the system, that kind of thing. And that's when Hefe mentioned Eason. And so apparently Rivers loves this kid, and I didn't know this. Did you guys know that? You didn't know that, Hefe?
Yeah, I had read a couple things right after the beginning of the season. Apparently, Eason had a really good training camp and was wowing some of the coaches and wowing Phillip Rivers with some of the throws that he was making and really proving that he has the arm talent that Chris Ballard drafted him for. So they seem to really like him, and they're saying that he's developing really well right now.
Yeah, so I've got some things to add to that. One of the things I want to add to that, when you mentioned arm strength, is there's a video of him on Twitter where he is effortlessly flicking the ball 60 plus yards. effortlessly just launching it. That's pretty rare. The last time I saw that, believe it or not, Zach, you were with me. We watched Jim Sorgi do that down in Thibodaux, Louisiana, at the Manning Passing Academy.
Yep.
Remember, Sorgi was just flicking the wrist, and that ball was flying 60 to 70 yards, which was just mind-boggling at that point. Anyone who's not a Colts fan would be like, Jim who? But that's
Dude had the best job ever.
best job ever, and maybe in the most talented backup quarterback to never play.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I guess
It's behind that man.
Yeah, for sure. Apparently, the entire staff is enamored with this kid as well, and they're citing not only his physical ability but also his attitude and his work ethic. And I guess he's constantly. And here's a quote that he's consistently staying late for extra workouts and film review with position coach Marcus Brady. And so all this is important, really important. Ultimately, what is going to be important is winning games. Only time will tell. But it sounds like this kid not only has a physical ability, but he wants it, and he's doing all the things that he needs to do to earn the starting spot here. So as this develops with Rivers over the next 3 years, I'm really Jeff, you got me excited. I'm excited to see what this kid's going to do. Easton may be the future. And do you guys know that? He's building a future with his buddy Hot Rod. Did you know that they're buddies?
Did not know.
Yeah, they played at Georgia together, and they are buddies. So they're looking forward to building a future here together. I don't know what that's worth, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I think what you're talking about is the same article that I saw, and I like that in there where they said a lot about him staying after and watching film with his quarterbacks coach. And I think that's going forward, whenever he does take the reins, I think we'll see that preparation immediately on the field. So as a Colts fan, that's just super exciting that this young guy is getting drafted and doing all the right things, getting ready for his chance.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's good to see too, because I remember when the draft was around that there were question marks with his maturity. So hearing that makes me feel a lot better that we did make a good choice, and I hope it pays off for us in the long run.
Yeah, and so to even break that down even further, when you look at this, you've got Frank Reich, who played under Jim Kelly, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. For Marv Levy, who helped develop Jim Kelly and develop Reich, and Reich was a good quarterback in his own right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, tough crowd. Reich was a good quarterback in his own right, and he has certainly shown what he can do with quarterbacks, being the Eagles' offensive coordinator, building this system. He knows what he needed with Rivers. He brought Rivers in. Rivers is potentially a future Hall of Famer in his own right. You got Jacoby Brissett, who played under Tom Brady and learned the professionalism and work ethic, and through that thing, who's coming here and just agreed to do whatever he needs to do for the organization. He's a consummate team player. And then you've got this kid who's coming in and looking at all three of these guys and obviously doing exactly what they want him to do and doing anything he can to get better. This, man, I don't know if it gets any better than this. I mean, for the future of this quarterback position, anything could happen. We could trade guys away, guys get hurt, whatever. But as of right now, this is a beautiful situation brewing at the quarterback position in Indianapolis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something exciting for the future. You have Eason, and you have Pittman, and you have Campbell, and you have Jonathan Taylor, and if the wide receivers can stay healthy, going forward, then this team's going to be looking real good here in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, for sure. If not the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to thank you for joining us. Please be sure to show us some love and like, share, and subscribe. We'd like to ask you to help us to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. And if you do that, you have a chance of winning an authentic NFL jersey from the NFL shop on us. If you're watching this, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And don't miss your chance to win future jersey giveaways. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, head on over to YouTube and help us out. We certainly appreciate the support. Just a reminder, it's not too late to go head-to-head against us in the weekly Pick'em battle. Hop on our Facebook, Twitter page, @Horsemen Sports, where you can find the link to join for free. the Pigskin Pick'em League and win a prize. Maybe get on air with us and represent your team. So for all you fantasy fanatics, if you haven't already, be sure to check out our latest episode of Fantasy Central, released last night, where Zach and Hefe covered the top week 4 waiver wire picks, the must starts, and the players to avoid this coming week. And of course, we will see you again on Tuesday for our week 4 recap. And until then, thanks for joining us and enjoy the games.
Don't let your meatloaf.